everybody. What's up? This is Ming Chen. I'm live here at the Shared Universe podcast studio. Here with a special announcement. I mean, how else do I say it? You guys have seen me on Comic Book Men. You guys have seen me take a lot of abuse on Comic Book Men. Also on the podcast, Tell 'em Steve Dave. Sometimes taking all that abuse is worth it. A lot of people ask me what was the best part of being on TV or a pop culture based TV show, and I say I get to go to all these Comic Cons. That was the best thing that came out of it. I love traveling the world. I love going to cons, and I've been to many around the world. But I think taking all that abuse, all that travel, has culminated into one event coming up on April 8th. I'm going to Hawaii, ladies and gentlemen. Not only am I going to Hawaii, but I'm going to the best island on Hawaii, Kauai. And I am here with Aaron Yamasato, the founder of the Kauai Comic Con. He's a filmmaker. He is a casting agent. He is an amazing human being. He's also my friend, and he's also crazy for taking on such an adventure. But announcing the Kauai Comic Con 2 coming up on April 8th, 2023. And he has invited me as a guest. And I have so many questions, my friend. But hello, Aaron. How are you?
Yeah, so great to see you again. It's so exciting. You're coming to Hawaii.
I know. I mean, thanks to you. Yes, thanks to you. And I wanted to tell everybody how this all started because most conventions, some invite me, some I reach out to, and some I don't even, some are amazing. Some I don't even know exist until I meet the promoters. And I knew, I know there are a couple of Comic Cons on the Hawaiian Islands.
Mhm.
I had no idea there was one on Kauai. And I just real quick, I love the island of Kauai. I think it's the best island in Hawaii. I honeymooned there about 22 years ago. Had an amazing week, and I think everything I've kind of done in life has been to try to get back. It's not easy. Kauai's not, you can't go like every week. It's, you can't flying there from New Jersey. It's very expensive. And so thank you for bringing me back.
Oh, yeah, you should tell them about what the island is, like Jurassic Park. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Much of Jurassic Park was set there. I believe, the other islands have been pretty well developed. If you go to like Honolulu, it's a city. There are highways and things like that. Kauai is more tropical, less developed, and I think maybe more pure, like the purest island.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch.
That's right. Lilo and Stitch also took place on Kauai. There's a reason they set all these things on Kauai is because it's an amazing island. So I think San Diego Comic-Con 2019, I believe, I had a table where I was signing up in a place called the Stills Pavilion, and up comes this very enthusiastic gentleman.
Fan.
A fan. And, yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, who came up and was like, "Hey, I love the show. I think you're cool." I was like, "Man, I think you're cool." We started talking, and that person was Aaron, and he just kind of casually mentions like, "Oh, by the way, I run a Comic-Con on Kauai." Gives me his card, which I still have to this day, and kind of mentions like, "Hey, would you consider being a guest in the future?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, consider put my name down now. Like, what do I have to do to get there? My mind was just blown. That one, there was a Comic-Con Kauai. 2, there was someone crazy enough to run one there, and 3, that I could potentially be a guest. So, thank you very much. So just to clarify, you are a fan of Comic Book Men.
Oh yeah, big fan, and that's why when I saw you signing at the San Diego Comic-Con, I got my chocolate-covered macadamia nuts and thought, okay, I'm gonna give you this gift, and please come to Hawaii. And I'm a fan, and I've been a long-time fan. Actually, I was gonna say, I remember hearing your name from way back when because I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah,
being a filmmaker, and so he's a huge inspiration. So I remember seeing your name pop up, here and there, like on the website.
Yeah.
You did his website, right? So.
Yeah. That was previous to Comic Book Man. That was what I was best known for. It's a guy who did all of Kevin Smith's IT.
Yeah,
like
and
his website.
I would go there and then I go, wow, it's a Asian guy doing Kevin Smith's, and being Asian American myself, I'm like, wow, that's so inspirational to see, being a part of Kevin Smith's team. And
right.
then And then he started the whole Stitcher or the podcasting
Yep. The network. Yeah.
network. And so I remember listening to that. It was like a radio channel. And then I remember you guys had the show before the podcasts, right?
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to listen to you guys before, and then they announced Comic Book Men, and I was like, "Those are the guys!" Right?
Like, wait, I know that guy. Wait, they're gonna put that Asian guy on TV. Like, whoa, that's cool. Okay, that Ming guy on TV, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's
No,
awesome.
yeah, no, I was gonna say that before I forget. That was another inspiration because back then there weren't too many Asian Americans seen on screen, I believe, right? Besides Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was pretty much it. Back in like 2010, 2011, and we aired in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a lot of. Yeah, this is pre like Crazy Rich Asians. This is pre
Exactly.
everything, everywhere, all at once.
Mhm.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of Asian people in you know, it goes in waves, right? You know, you know, 84, we had, you know, our good friend Ki Kwan,
Oh yeah, so
doing the
awesome.
Goonies, and then it kind of faded away. And Jackie Chan got popular in the 90s for a little bit, and
Mhm.
Jet Li,
Oh
and
yeah,
I think we had the Vanishing Sun, the TV show. You know,
yeah,
it came here and there, but now, you know, luckily now it's a little more prevalent.
yeah. With Crazy
But
Rich Asians, just open the floodgates and
yeah, and that's our goal. We're only crazy. We don't have the rich part yet, but we got the Asian part down, got the crazy part down, working on the rich part. So
but basically, I was gonna say it's like seeing that representation up on screen, I think is very important.
yeah, for sure. And you know, a lot of people have mentioned at Comic Cons too. It's like, wow, hey, you know, I came over because you're the only Asian guy here. So it's like,
In
oh,
fact,
cool.
remember at San Diego Comic Con, those are the guys behind me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they were from Hawaii too.
yeah.
The
So
501st.
big fandom representation in Hawaii, and I was going to ask you about that. On the island of Kauai, you know, I'm always going to. I love going to like cities I've never been to because I like to see like, wow, what's fandom like here? Are they
Mhm.
into comics? Are they into pop culture? And are they into anime? I imagine it's very well represented on Kauai. But like, are there any comic book stores on Kauai? Is there like where do besides Kauai Comic Con? You know, is there anywhere for like pop culture fans to gather or hang out or be with other fans?
So the thing is, before I did the Kauai Comic Con, I didn't even really know. There wasn't really. They were there. They were on the island, but we never really knew each other existed.
Okay,
So
so
it
you
was
brought them together. You brought everyone together.
yeah, which was kind of cool because I didn't even know. So it was funny. Like we did a cosplay contest and everything, and we're like, are there cosplayers here on the island of Kauai? Because we know there's on Maui and on Oahu,
Yeah,
the city bigger ones, but we didn't know if there are any here on our small island, and there were. And the cool thing is like I always tell people like the great story is hearing from cosplayers saying, I didn't know you existed here, and they would exchange their social media or text, and like a connecting thing for
yeah.
cosplayers. Like wow, like teenagers or younger people, they're like, wow, I didn't know. So they got these connection the groups.
That's awesome. So you brought fans together, which
Hmm.
is why me and you love going to Comic Con so much. We
Exactly.
see old friends, we make new friends. Uh,
Uh-huh.
the, yeah,
Yeah.
the difference is you were the catalyst for this. You brought them all together.
Oh no, no,
Um,
but to me, I always say it's cool because it's kind of like it's neat. It's for the Kauai community. I always say because it's neat. Like you said, it's like seeing people come together, like the cosplayers at excuse me, the kids.
yeah,
This is their first. A lot of them, this is their first ever Comic Con,
right.
and then so that was the thing is. So I've always been going to Comic Cons from way back when, and what is that from the '90s, and
Yeah,
going to San Diego and I used to live in LA, in the '90s, so I used to go to all those sci-fi cons, the Creation, Star Trek,
oh
um,
yeah, the big ones. Yes.
the Monster Paloozas, all the con stuff, and so basically, remember I was gonna talk to you about this. Remember, like I don't know something. When did you feel like the whole pop culture, the geek culture, really started to take off? I know it was like my daughter when she was in middle school. it was like 2010, 11. There was like the new Doctor Who,
Yep.
and what is that? The Lord of the Ring. Like
Yep.
I felt like that was like the zenith, or like all the, where Comic Cons got really popular. Like,
Yeah, that I think 2008, the first Iron Man came out, and yeah, I think. I think it was gradual, but I remember like when we were going in the '90s,
mhm.
they were smaller.
Mhm.
There'd be maybe like five guys selling long boxes of comics. There'd be that one guy with like maybe some used toys, some GI Joe,
Bootlegs,
Transformers.
bootlegs.
Yeah,
That's terrible. I should.
like, there'd be the guys selling bootleg DVDs,
Yeah.
and then maybe you would have one or two like TV guests from a show that came out 20 years ago. Like it's like, oh, there's Gopher from the Love Boat.
Yeah, or Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a guy from there's like a Cylon or like Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica or
yeah,
whatever. It was
that's
cool.
exciting. Yeah.
It was cool. And then somewhere gradually, they started getting bigger,
Mhm.
more vendors, and then we started seeing the guest stars were actually from like current TV shows and current movies.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here? This is getting legit, right?" So,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
know that was like so. Like, was it like 2000? Yeah. So when Iron Man came out,
yeah, 2008.
2008, that's when it started. Like the general public started getting really big, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
got to know what Comic Con, and I know a lot of people. I know some of the hardcore fan. What was it? Oh, so like Hall H,
oh yeah,
of course.
San
So the
Diego
one,
Comic Con.
so like you gotta stand in line or you gotta camp out. I always tell people, I remember the days, and I'm sure you do too. Oh, what's going on in Hall H? Let's go. So you're just walking the
Yeah, you just
convention.
walk in.
Oh, you
Yeah,
just
no
walk in.
line.
Oh, what's going on in here?
Yeah, now people camp out for 3 days to see like the Kevin Smith panel or like the Marvel panel. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like this huge room, and and usually there's seats in the back, and you sit down and you watch like Frank Miller talk or something. Oh, Frank Miller, cool, wow, and that's it. You walk, but now it's like, wow.
It exploded, which I don't like waiting in line, but I love that everybody is into it like we are. So I think that's pretty cool. When so your very first one was in 2019.
2000, yeah, 2019 for Kauai Comic Con
Yeah,
2019. Yeah, was our first. So that one too. So we're like, okay, so I love Comic Cons, and my daughter and people are like, oh, we should. We always say, I wish we had one on this island, like that I could go to,
right.
right? And the thing is, there's a lot of Comic Cons on the other islands, so I would fly over to them. So like, there's a big one that I love called Kauai Con,
Yes.
which is this huge anime con. But then too, I remember going to the very first one, and it was like in small ballrooms in a hotel,
Right.
and you could just easily go in. And now it's this huge, like it's been decades already. So it's like in a huge convention in the Hawaii Convention Center.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like the San Diego Comic Con of Hawaii, I guess. The
Right.
second one. And so basically, they're like I always say the senpai, the like the older, the anime, how do you say, like, so
Yeah,
we're
like the mentor. Yeah.
yeah, so they've been super supportive of us. And so ours is only the second year, so we're kind of like kindergartners, I guess. So we're like looking at
But
the cool teenagers.
yeah, from all the videos I've seen in the photos, that very first one in 2019 was amazing. It went really well.
And that was kind of amazing too, because we didn't expect that. I mean, we were hoping for, that's what I was hoping for, to kind of give it that vibe. And and luckily I have like great advisors, like people who go to all these cons in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and I'm sure like they've been to a lot of cons that were really successful, and some that were just kind of like busts,
Right. Oh yeah.
unfortunately, which is really sad. I've been to them, like, oh, it's like
Oh
a new
sure.
con, let's go, like, oh,
Oh, this isn't so good. Like, oh,
oh. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, kind of like learn from their lessons, and
yeah.
kind of avoid that. So luckily, it seems, I mean, fingers crossed. I don't want to how do you say, jinx it for this second one, but the first one went really well. So we're hoping that this next one will be even better with you there.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I will bring you my best, and like I'd be excited to go for. So we have to rewind because originally you were going to throw a second one in 2020,
Oh
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and we all know why that didn't happen.
yeah.
I love telling this story. I actually had a dilemma when you invited me to 2020. You're like, hey, I want you to come out this date, and I marked down my calendar, and I was like, wait, this. I feel like there's something else going on this date as well. And for any Tell 'em Steve Dave ants out there, any fans of Tell 'em Steve Dave, um, I had a really big dilemma because if you're a fan of Tell 'em Steve Dave, you'll know that they were trying to throw a 10th anniversary live show in New Jersey, and it was on that date. And Walt, they'd be like, "Hey, man, you're gonna be there, right? We need you 10 years. You're an integral part of Tell 'em Steve Dave. You got to be there." So I had a dilemma. I was like, "Wait, do I go to Hawaii? Or do I support my friends, who have been making fun of me for 20 years?
Dave, yeah,
Have trashed me mercilessly on this podcast. However, it was all in good fun, and it was a really tough dilemma. And I was like, Aaron,
I know.
Aaron, I have a dilemma. I really want to come, but my friends have this wacky podcast. And yeah, and you were like, dude, I love your reply. You were like, dude, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I get it. Go. You need to be there. Don't worry. I'll invite you back next year or something. Like, don't worry about it. I was like, oh my God. That was awesome. And then as it turned out, none of that happened. So
did they ever return to that? Did they?
No, they didn't. No. I mean, I think they want to, but I'm pretty sure the two Bryans want to do it, and I would love to jump in with them and everybody. I think Walt is like, we tried. Maybe we were canceled for it didn't happen for a reason. So they may do something like for their 15th year or something. Who knows?
You need the whole band back together.
But that would have been a tough decision though, man.
I remember seeing that. I was like, "Oh, that is funny," but I'm like, "Oh no, you gotta go to that reunion. That's to me
I appreciate that, and you know what? As it always does with guys like me and you, it all just kind of works out.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. And then thankfully, you were so helpful during the pandemic. You did Mimi Chan's Seafood Mimi Chan helped out doing the podcast. The virtual.
Yeah,
you helped out with our virtual event during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, you'll never be rid of me now, man. Like anytime you need anything, like I'm here. So that comes with promotion for future conventions, and I'm sure we'll see each other in San Diego and other conventions. So, which is pretty amazing. So that first year went very very successfully, successful enough that you decided to throw a second one.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from that first convention? That you're like, oh man, I didn't know about this. I'm gonna, I learned this. I'm gonna improve on this. And bring it to the next one. I'm sure
a mountain of those.
It's a tough task. People are always asking me, they're like, hey, you go to all these conventions, would you ever consider throwing one? And I'm like, no way, man, absolutely not. Yeah. So many unknown factors, and I remember there was my friend throws the Amazing Comic Con in Honolulu.
Oh, Jimmy J. Yeah, he's awesome. He's very supportive too.
Great guy. I love Jimmy J. Check out Amazing Comic Con. He does one on Honolulu. But one year, all the guests got there, and then there was a huge hurricane or something.
Hurricane was coming.
Yes. So they had to cancel it, but all the guests were there already, so they couldn't really do anything. And I just felt bad. But it was unpredictable, So
that was so. I felt so bad too because that was crazy too. Because I don't know if you know the second part of this story. So everybody was all excited, Amazing Comic Con. Yeah, all the guests were there. And then this hurricane is coming, but we're like, oh no. And then so everybody's like, is it going to be canceled? So unfortunately, they had to cancel it. And we're like, oh. But then the very next day, the hurricane never came.
Yeah, it never hit.
It was like blue skies,
right?
Sunny, no rain. We're like, oh my. Like, no.
Yeah. So,
so I'm sure they're happy.
Yeah, but was there anything you learned from throwing that first one? I was like, oh man, like, all right, I'm not going to do this, or or maybe I should improve on this. Like, I'm sure you learned a lot, but
you never know. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, they're just things that happen. So luckily, it wasn't anything too bad, and so we have a list of things, checklists, and so hopefully this year things go smoothly or better, and it seems that way. So. Fingers crossed, and the second one. So We shall see.
Amazing. And what's the biggest challenge of running a con out of a Hawaiian island?
Mm.
Say I'm running a con here in New Jersey, and let's say I need wristbands or something. I just go to Amazon, I guess, and I order them. Or just logistically, I guess, it'd be easier. The infrastructure where you can just get stuff in a day or two. It's easier here.
Amazon. I was gonna
Yeah.
say Amazon has been great. Amazon, or you know what it is I guess maybe because of the pandemic too, or a lot of things are done online.
Okay.
So fortunately, yeah, I can get a lot of things online. I try to do things locally though. Whatever is local, I try to get things here. But for some of the things I can't, then fortunately I have what is that? I can jump online and order it and make sure it's ahead of time. And
Okay. So Amazon Prime's pretty quick, even on the Hawaiian Islands. Then.
yeah, not too bad, but
Okay.
just things like say for instance, like for our cosplay contest, you saw like our little superhero trophy.
Yeah, you got really cool trophies, like
That's
really cool looking trophies.
That's through this crown. It's through a trophy site that makes it's online though. It's not. So I could have done it locally, but it would be a regular kind of trophy.
Right.
So it's a Comic Con. I'm looking for something a little different, superhero. So stuff like that. I can jump online and go, oh, that's cool. So order that online.
Yeah, I just saw the trophy. It's a gold superhero trophy. Kind of looks like an Oscar trophy, but with a superhero. And I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. So best cosplay award at Kauai Comic Con. So we got the kids and the adults divisions. And
Yes.
yeah, it seems like people are excited. People signing up, and like I said, I didn't know Kauai had cosplayers, but we do. So,
Yeah, you're gonna want to sign up because you're looking at one of the co-hosts. So.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I love hosting cosplay contests. So you're like, hey, would you co-host a contest? Like, absolutely. Like, no hesitation. For
I
sure.
know. I've seen some of your videos and like, oh, you're like perfect. It's like, oh, I should ask Ming.
I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
I'll be co-hosting with Night Darling cosplay. Which,
Actually, this is the thing.
no, Night Darling.
Okay. This is Night Darling. Unfortunately, she was gonna be there, but unfortunately, she can't make it. She has a newborn, a baby.
Oh wow! Okay, congratulations then.
She actually lives on Maui.
Okay.
She's super sweet, super awesome, and she was gonna come, but she's like, oh, with the baby and everything. Like, I don't know if I should. So I was like, yeah. So it's kind of like you and the Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Right.
Like, no, just don't worry about it. I know you said you'd be here at Kauai Comic Con, but she's still helping out behind the scenes. Like,
Okay.
Zoom calls and emails and all. It's basically Night Darling presents, kind of like the
Cool. Okay.
presents, and so she's still she's running it from behind the scenes. It's just she won't be there in person, unfortunately.
Oh, no sweat. Okay, I mean, a baby is way more important than Brian Johnson and Walt Flanagan. So yes, Night Darling, congratulations. I see here the grand prize, and this is why you want to enter. Grand prize, Nintendo Switch Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So the trophy and the cool prizes. So yeah, we'll have some prizes for everybody, and yeah. And I'm thinking, for the kids, it should be fun because it'll be like the first time for them. So what is that? We got some cool prizes for the kids, and see stuff like that. Like with Night Darling helping out, she does all the cosplay. She was saying like what she does for the contest is she usually gives like little goodie bags to all the participants.
Yes.
Well, after the thing, thank you for participating. So yeah, that should
It's
be
so amazing. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the trophy looks like.
Oh, you got a video, you got a picture.
I got you, man. I got you. Who doesn't want that trophy on their mantle? So for anybody out there going to Kauai Comic Con, I was like, oh, you have 10 days, about 10 days, 11 days or so to get your cosplays together to shape that warbler or glue that EVA craft foam, and I can't wait to see it. Can you tell me about some of the other guests you got coming? They're pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was gonna. So do we have time? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we got time. Yeah, we got time.
Okay, cool. So what is that? We have Nicole Lano. She's a dancer, like a teenage 17-year-old dancer on she's super popular, like on Instagram, TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, so my daughter, she's a teenager and she's a big fan of hers. And so she was like, "Oh, you should invite Nicole Lano," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really into the whole the what's really popular in the teen world, but she gives me all the info, the
Yeah. The
scoops,
scoop. Yep. Yeah.
what's popular in their world, kind of thing." So one of them, yeah, she said was Nicole. So yeah, I got to contacting Nicole for the first year of Kauai Comic Con, and yeah, she said yes, and she came to Kauai, and she was a big hit, and fortunately, she and her family enjoyed Kauai and Kauai Comic Con. So when we said, "Oh, do you mind coming back for the second one?" They're like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
So
And if you have on YouTube, she put together this really cool video about her experience. And
she
yeah,
does all
I definitely checked that out just to scope it. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. So
yeah, so looking forward. In fact, she does like all her blogs are really popular. So an exciting thing that we're excited about this time is so normally she had the last time she had a class like in a different smaller ballroom, but this time those ballrooms are being renovating. They're renovating the hotel, so we can't have it there. So instead, what she offered was she's gonna do a class for everybody in the main hall, in the main stage.
yeah.
And so she'll invite everybody out to dance, like how they go to the dance
Oh yeah.
and so so that's exciting. It's like everybody can be in her YouTube video blog.
That's amazing. So you can be a part of it.
Yeah, be like, "Hey, there I am dancing."
That's cool. I might have to jump in. I don't dance very well, but that's why you take the lesson, right?
Yeah, it's like she does it step by step.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and then like the next steps, and yeah.
That's amazing. And then you have Band Daisuke coming as well. From,
Kikaida, yeah, Bandaisuke, Tokusatsu legend in the Japanese superhero world. He played, yeah, Bandaisuke Bansan. He's actually, the interesting thing is he's like really popular in Hawaii. Like and I always say that I think we spoke about this before, but it was kind of interesting how in Hawaii Kikaida is this Japanese superhero, and he's like in Hawaii, like people will stand in lines to see him, like long lines.
yeah.
The last one we had when he was here, people stood in line for 4 hours
Wow.
to get his autograph or to take a picture and thing. And the fans are super sweet and nice. So, but anyway, I was gonna say it's interesting because so my wife is from Japan, and we go to Japan, and we always find it funny because in Japan, Kikaida isn't that popular as, say, Ultraman or what is that, Kamen Rider?
Right.
So most people in Japan know Kamen Rider or Ultraman, whereas they know Kikaida, but it's kind of like, so it's funny. I used to equate it, but not anymore. I used to say, oh, Ultraman is kind of like Superman, and what is that? Kamen Rider is kind of like Batman,
Right.
and Kikaida is kind of like Iron Man.
Okay.
Like if you know Iron Man, he's cool, right?
But he's not Batman or Superman. But still, like, very cool.
Yeah. So that's what I would say to people back in the 90s or before the Iron Man movie came out. He's kind of like Iron Man. If you know him, he's cool, and so it'll be like if in Hawaii Iron Man was more popular than Superman or Batman.
That's amazing. And yeah, and he's gonna have like really cool merchandise, like exclusives, bringing them to the Kauai Comic Con. So for the 50th anniversary, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So it's cool too. The thing is, he did a CD. So the songs on Kikaida are really popular, like the theme song.
Yeah.
And so what he did recently was he made a CD with a rock band, and he sings the Kikaida song himself.
That's awesome.
Because before it was somebody else singing, but not the actual actor. So he's singing the main theme song this time for the CD and songs. And it's sold out in Japan, like really fast. So you can't get it online. Or if you do, it's like really high prices.
Yeah.
he told me that he's gonna be bringing some with him.
Whoa! All right,
So,
that's a reason to come in itself. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
so I'm excited because I wanted that
Yeah,
CD.
yeah, yeah. Like, hey, man, Bon, save me one. Save me one.
Exactly, and sign it. So unwrap it, and then he can
Yeah,
sign it for
that's
you.
so
And
cool.
yeah, so I'm
That's
excited. And
awesome.
then we have posters and DVDs, Kikaida DVDs
That's
for
awesome.
so yeah.
Well, I don't have a super exclusive CD, but I will be bringing some exclusive comic books with me. I
Ooh,
had
exciting.
some exclusive, very rare comic book materials. Comic
Oh,
book, they are comic books.
wow.
I'm bringing them with me. Yeah, one's a rare press kit that came out before season one.
Wow.
The other one is I found these pages that they were developing for Comic Book Man Comic Book,
Oh.
and I asked someone over at AMC. I was like, "What is this?" Like, yeah, we were trying to get a comic book together. We kind of ran out of time, but we have 24 full color pages.
Wow.
And I'm like, "What are you doing with these?" Like, well, they're all digital. They're we're not printing them, so I had them printed into a comic book, and it looks pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's really no dialogue, but you can kind of follow what's going on, and the artwork's really cool. So it's all based on the animated intro of Comic Book Man. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm the mech, and Walt's Godzilla, and Brian's like the Thor character, and
Mhm.
Mike's like Superman. So it's all based on that. So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
I can't. Yeah, you can't just have one guy with super cool exclusives. I'll bring my A game as well, my friend.
I
So
love that exclusive merch.
yeah.
So
So you have a geek band coming as well, console.
yeah, so they're this band that plays video game music.
That's awesome.
So yeah, they're flying in. They're awesome too. They're flying in from Oahu. So that's really special for us, for the island of Kauai to experience this rock band. So they're popular. They play all the cons on Oahu. So I've seen them before. I'm like, oh, they're so much fun and it's so cool. They play all these, Chronos Trigger
Yeah,
and
I am.
you're solid, all this. But
Oh,
the funny
man.
thing is, the funny thing is, Brian, he's the leader. He's awesome. I was telling him how Kauai is kind of interesting because a lot of it for the last time, it was the first time that they'd been to a Comic Con.
Right.
So I was telling him, what should we do? For the playlist, it's kind of like an intro Comic Con intro, Kauai Comic Con for the
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
So you're gonna meet a lot of sweet people like families and kids and just people that will say, "Oh, this is my first Comic Con," and so I was saying, I don't know how hard we should geek out like for with the band. So I was like, do you know like the Last of Us theme song, from the show and the video game?
Yep. Yeah.
Something. So like I think we should kind of go for like the Mandalorian. Well, Mandalorian is not a video game, but
Right. But you went like more just popular.
Tetris, like that, like
Tetris. Yes. Okay. Like mainstream.
mhm.
Ease them into it before you go to like the more obscure stuff. That's
Yeah,
cool.
like Sonic and all that. So it's funny. We were just talking so with the video game, like, but then he's a musician, so it's like, yeah, but some of even though they don't know the theme song for something, they might think it's a cool song, and
Yeah.
they might go on, they'll be introduced. And I thought that's the whole point of Comic Cons too, is to be introduced to cool things. Like I
Yep.
discovered so many cool things at Comic Cons. Like what is this? And then or the comic, or whatever. And you do your research, like something that's popular, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. So, like even you, like Ming Chen, for the people like, oh, who's Ming Chen? And then oh, he's a cool guy. I met him at the Comic Con, right? Like I'm sure you've met people at Comic Cons.
Yeah, man. He's like, wait, what do you do? Like, I'm on the show. Usually, I'll be like, hey, do you know Kevin Smith? Like, yeah, well, he owns a comic book shop. If you like Kevin, you'll love the show. If you're here at Comic Con, you'll love the show. If you love anything pop culture, you'll love the show. And then, yeah, you're right. They'll go and watch it. And then the next year they'll come back and they're a fan. Like,
Right.
oh, I met you last year. I didn't know about the show. I watched the show. Now I'm a big fan. It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool that, and I think that is the heart of what we do as geeks is like, we love to be the first one to discover something.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I read this comic book. It had a bunch of zombies in it and an Asian kid running around and this guy named Rick Grimes. I remember that. I was like, man, I went to all my friends like, you need to read this. This is pretty cool. And then it became the TV show, and obviously, but you always want to be that first person to discover something cool, and then you introduce all your other friends to it.
Yeah, you know what's well, I don't know if it's a terrible story, but I thought it was pretty funny. Was say take for example, and I think this helped with the whole Comic Con getting popular to the mainstream. And I know that the geeks like us, or the the old school Comic Con fans, are kind of like, ugh. But remember in San Diego Comic Con, I went up there one year, and there was this new thing called Twilight.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what that was.
Right.
It was really popular. They were really hyping it up. Like, what is this Twilight thing? I'm like, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. Okay, vampires for teen. Okay. So I didn't know what it was, but I came back to Kauai and I told, my daughter about it. At the time I told Leah, my daughter, and she was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And we went over to Barnes and Noble, which we had. It's
Yeah,
called
you picked up the Twilight.
Borders.
Yes.
We had a Borders here. So we got it, and there it was. Bought it. Oh, this is that book I saw at Comic Con. And for me, I'm a hardcore horror fan, so I love vampires. So I thought this might be a good gateway into vampires for her, because she was like, what, 10 years old, 11.
Yeah.
So I thought this might be a safe way. Was, oh, here, read this thing, and I heard it's for kids. So. And she came back. She was like, "Daddy, that was so cool."
That's cool. All right, so you introduced her to Twilight.
I introduced her to Twilight, and then I'm like, "Okay, cool." And she told me all about it. I'm like, okay, and that's great. But it's kind of neat where I got to introduce that, and then the next year was it New Moon?
I think so. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, whatever the sequel was. Yeah.
Maybe the movie came or something, but the movie came out.
Yeah.
And it just started growing and turning into this huge thing. But it's kind of like we're talking about discovery. I thought that's so funny where I went up to San Diego. There's this thing called Twilight. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be cool. Like, yeah, I don't know what this is, but yeah, I mean, it's a good preteen introduction to vampires. Because like my introduction to vampires was The Lost Boys in like 1987. So
awesome.
And I mean, that was a great introduction, but I don't know. Yeah. But I was like 14, like 10. I don't know if I could have handled it, but
but it's funny because now she's all embarrassed.
Oh, yeah, no, don't be embarrassed. It's fine. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to some of our other fellow guests, John Murakami, the artist, Kimberly Hope,
Violinist,
Special Violet, yeah, Derek Fabian, also an amazing artist, and and we got Console coming. Sam Campos, also Moana McAdams.
I was gonna say Sam Campos. You're gonna want to meet him, because he and Moana, because they're like Hawaii. They're from they're Hawaiian, locally made comic books. And Sam, in the '90s, he did this comic book. It was around that time of Spawn.
Yep.
And then so I was up in LA, but my parents or my mother used to send me up care packages, with the coffee and the Hawaii snacks and
right
things. And I remember one time there was a comic book in it because she knew that I love comic books. So it was like, oh, there was this comic book called Pineapple Man, which is like this superhero. He's like all tough, kind of like Spawn with pineapples with spikes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then he's mean and cool, like a dark hero. And I was like, wow, what is this? This is really cool, and the artwork is really cool, and. So he did kind of like he's kind of like I think they said the grandfather of Hawaii's the local comic book industry.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Sam, you're gonna want to meet him and talk about how it was like doing like Hawaii's first comic book superhero.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, I'm reading here. He's also he's a fight choreography. He's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Moana too. She's like, so it's kind of neat with Moana, and we have a lot of the local comic book artists are starting to emerge, and so I thought it's great, kind of use it to showcase.
Oh yeah, highlight them for sure.
The local Hawaii talent.
Yeah. I mean, they built fandom and nerddom in Kauai. I love that. Also got Burning Spirit Comics coming, Kachi Horimoto, and Star Wars prop and costume exhibit. This is a full Ayumi Shiro. This is great, man.
No, the Star Trek thing was great because I was like geeking out. That too, I didn't know it existed on Kauai. But I just went over to so Doug Shannon. He's like a Star Trek super fan. So I just went over to his house and he showed me his Star Trek room. And it was amazing. You
Yeah.
walk into this room, there's all the lights, all the next gen stuff
Yep.
and original props like the costumes and the masks, and he had original scripts that had with like notes in it and Polaroids, and he's just like a collector. He had like he and his wife showed me like they have a Star Trek the Motion Picture pinball machine,
Oh wow. Okay. Yep.
and they're like a Tempest machine, but like wow, like just geeking out at all his stuff. So he's like, oh, what should I bring to the con? So he's gonna have a setup like where people can see all the props and the phasers and the
That's so cool. Yeah. See Star Trek history in person at the Kauai Comic Con.
So this is the coolest. And I said, you gotta bring it. He didn't bring it the first year, but in a case, he had a tribble, like a real tribble.
Like a screen used tribble.
A screen used
tribble. Oh, that's awesome.
Wow, I got to actually touch like this is a real tribble from the show. Well, it's from a DS9, the DS9 episode.
Still,
but
it's canon.
It's a tribble.
It's canon. That's so cool. Ayumi Miyashiro, Jimmy Sparrow, Momichu, art by Terasane. This is cool, man.
Yeah, the artists, local artists. And this is not on the site yet, but we're gonna put it on the site. This is kind of new, which I'm so glad that it's kind of saying like running a con. All of these things is like moving. People cancel, people add. It's just the schedule is changing around, and the diagram. But anyway, one of the great things that I'm glad is working out. It seems to, is we're gonna have a gaming area, Twitch streaming. So we're gonna have live Twitch streaming.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we're gonna have like the video like competitions, and so they're gonna like commentate, and we're gonna have prizes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. It's rewarded drawer. It's like a Twitch channel, and so it was kind of neat. It's kind of like you. I just like bumped into him, like Colton Moore. He does this rewarded drawer channel, and he does Twitch streaming and everything. And I bumped into him like about going to Taco Bell. And I was like, dude, we want a Twitch streaming area.
Yeah,
and
please.
We don't have one, and we were supposed to have one, but things fall through, and then it's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I was like,
that's cool. It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Bumping into him.
That's so cool. So if I were to ask you, so this year's show, like, what is your big hope for this year's show?
Big hope for this that we get through it.
Okay, fair enough.
No. That everybody has fun. That like you guys have fun, and with the guests and the attendees, just a good vibe. Like I always tell people, what I love about Comic Cons is usually the vibe there is really positive. It's like a exciting, almost kind of like a graduation. Like for high school graduations.
Yeah. Everyone's happy. They're like, everyone's excited. Mm-hmm. Everyone's there for the same thing. You're right. That's what I love about it too.
Yeah, like a wedding. Everybody's there to celebrate. Oh, we're at a wedding. So I was telling people that's what I love about Comic Cons. When you go there, everybody's like in a good mood.
Yeah.
And everyone's excited, and happy to be there. And it's a celebration of pop culture. So they'll see something that they recognize, like something from a movie or TV show.
Totally.
Video game, like, hey, I recognize that, and oh, that's cool. Or as what's really cool is like even my parents, they've never been to a Comic Con, but they got to go since I was running it, so they or my family, and they've never been, and they're like, that was really fun, seeing meeting all the people in the costumes. And so even for people who aren't familiar, they've heard of Comic Cons, they're like, oh yeah, that's where people dress up. But there's more to it. But still, when they actually got to be there and see people, they're like, wow, that was so much fun. And yeah, it's a good thing for the community.
Yeah, it is. I love that you're bringing people together. I love that you're the first exposure to a lot of people to real Comic-Con. And I can't wait to be there. I'm really glad you're throwing this, and I know. The last few years have not been that fun. So I think a lot of people are just dying to come out. I anticipate a great crowd. I can't wait to meet everybody. For anybody watching this, even if you've never seen Comic Book Man, if you don't know who I am, just come up and say hello. I'm going to give you everything I got.
Yeah.
chances are we're the fan of the same thing. And
Geek out with Ming Chen. Geek out.
and if you do want to watch it before April 8th, all the episodes are free on YouTube now. So just search Comic Book One on YouTube. They just got moved there a couple months ago, so everybody can watch them now. And I can't wait to be there.
Yeah.
It's just an honor to be invited, my friend. And of course, I can't wait to see you again. It's been too long.
Yeah, so I love seeing you, and like you said, it's amazing how since 2019 in San Diego, how it's finally happening.
Yes,
That
for
you're
real.
finally coming over to Kauai, and after the pandemic and everything and all the talk, and finally it's happening.
Yeah. So April 8th, Saturday, April 8th, go to KauaiComicConvention.com for tickets info. I think you still have some early bird tickets still now, or
It's done.
okay, no early birds. So just get them at the door then. Get them at the door.
Actually, no, you know what? It is still open though. For those watching the stream, it's still open.
Okay, well, get the early birds because you'll save some money, which then you can go buy comic books and toys with. Like that's that's how I see it for sure.
Yeah.
And it's at the Royal Sonesta Kauai, which looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a resort, so it's kind of like a Black Lotus of Kauai kind of thing.
Cool.
I hope it's not like that, but no, you know what I'm saying.
In a good way. In a good way.
Good way. It's like Black Lotus, but in a good way.
And big shout out to them for supporting such a great event.
Yes,
and
I know they're super supportive and super excited. In fact, this is a cool new thing talking about changes in diagrams.
Yes.
So this is their suggestion, and this is awesome. So for the main stage, what we're gonna do is they just sent me the diagram. Is for the cosplay contest and everything.
Yeah.
What if we make the main stage as a catwalk?
Oh, so out this way instead of just kind of like
it's a T. So yeah,
yes, you can go out. Everyone sees you, take a spin, come back. That's great.
Yeah, we're gonna
awesome.
have they can work the catwalk.
Yes, that's amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
So
I'll be co-hosting that cosplay contest. I imagine I have a panel there during that day. So please everybody come out, say hello, celebrate fandom, and Aaron, you're amazing.
Oh no, you're awesome
doing this, and I can't wait to see you in a few days, my friend. Is there anything else you wanted to say that I missed?
I don't think so. I think just if you can, I guess for everybody watching, if you can make it out to Hawaii, or if you're already in Hawaii, please come down and join us. It should be fun. Geek out on the island of Kauai, and at a nice resort area.
Yeah, you got to come on. I'm coming to you. You don't have to come all the way to New Jersey. I'm coming to you.
And I was gonna say too, the cool thing is the hotel is right near our airport.
Yeah, it's like really next door. So if you're at a neighboring island, just hop over for the day.
Exactly.
Hop on over.
So in fact, I've heard some people are doing that. They're just coming for the day. They're like hopping over, catch a Uber, whatever, to the hotel next door, and then they go back that night.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get any my few friends in Hawaii to just come over. I was like, listen, I'm coming out. I don't come every week. Like, come on out. So
I know. And the thing is, they're probably on Maui or what is it, the other islands. But just fly over for the day, and a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So thank you, my friend, for bringing us together. Thank you for jumping on with me. Thank you for inviting me.
It's gonna be awesome.
Again, thank you. Listen, I'm rubbing it in everybody else's faces.
I can't wait.
Mike, Walt, Brian, finally I get to throw something back at them. And maybe they'll come in the future. I don't know. Walt doesn't fly, but he's kind of changing things. So who knows, man? Who knows?
But I can't wait to see you and my wife and family and everybody. I make sure we'll give you the aloha.
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
And even that too is like even during the cosplay contest night, darling. Don't forget Lays for our for you guys for the
for sure
and judges and things. So it'll be very Hawaii. You guys will have
Lays and kukui nuts, my friends. Lays and kukui nuts.
You know the kukui nut,
I do.
Okay.
Wear them, don't eat them. So eating them not good.
You know the kukui nut.
I do.
Awesome.
I do. Thank you so much, our friend. Great luck with planning in the next few days. And next time I see you, will be on Kauai time, my friend.
Woohoo! Yeah, exciting. I know. Can't wait to see you in Hawaii.
Awesome. So yeah, one more time, Saturday, April 8th, at the Royal Sonesta Kauai Comic Convention.com for tickets and info. Just come. I'll see you there. You know, they don't do this every week in the Hawaiian Islands. This is going to be amazing. You can see Aaron's enthusiasm and his fandom, and the man runs a great show. And you know what? I'll be there as well. So I'll see all of you guys soon. Aaron, thank you so much, my friend. Aaron
Oh, no.
Yamasato, filmmaker. Oh, and definitely check out Ninja EX and Blood of the Samurai. He's got a lot of stuff going on because
On
he's not
Tubi. It's on Tubi.
because he's not just a Comic Con promoter. He's a filmmaker as well. So that's where he pours all his other passions as well. So, Aaron, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Yeah, hang on for a second, and thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys soon.